14th. 1 win in 5 and a -3 goal difference. United's only victories at home this season have come against Fulham and Brentford. Away from home, they have 1 win against bottom of the league Southampton. And for context, the only other team that they have beaten so far this season in all competitions is League One Barnsley in the Carabao Cup. So we are nearly in November and the great Manchester United scalps are as follows: Fulham, Brentford, Southampton, Barnsley. Glory, glory, Man United. It's gone. The status has gone. The prestige of Manchester United gone with the wind. Do you remember that banner that they used to have at every away game? Not arrogant, just better. And at one point it was true. That's gone. The intimidation factor that they once had over everyone in the league, gone. And to put it bluntly and frankly, Manchester United on the pitch are not a big club anymore. It's not easy for me to say that. I grew up in an era where Manchester United was so dominant. I always acknowledge the power of Manchester United. Anyone that's ever watched any of my videos before will know that I always acknowledge quite what a great club Manchester United are. The biggest supported club in the country. Undoubtedly one of the biggest clubs in the world. Their contribution to football. Bobby Charlton, I will always argue, is the greatest sportsman that this country has ever produced. In fact, I said just this on Twitter the other day when talking to the Stretford Paddock's Jay Motti. I am aware of what Manchester United are, or once were. I know the significance of the Holy Trinity. I get it. When I talk about great captains, I always talk about Brian Robson, Roy Keane, Steve Bruce. I tell anyone that will listen that David Beckham was robbed of a Ballon d'Or in 1999. I acknowledge Fergie's brilliance, and I think that Wayne Rooney is one of the greatest footballers to have ever lived. I get it. I don't want this video to be seen as me being snide about Manchester United or me not necessarily acknowledging what they once were. If you think about it, over the years, what made Manchester United so great? It was the standards. Now, of course, they cultivated their own brilliance. The class of '92 is a testament to that. But it was the standards that were set at Manchester United that made them so iconic. The standards and what was expected of Manchester United players was passed down generation to generation. As a club, Manchester United are represented by one word: resilience, a never say die attitude, a genuine belief that they are never beaten and never will be beaten. And part of the way that they secured that legacy was by demanding excellence from the top down. They went out into the transfer market and they signed the very best. When Andy Cole scored 41 goals in a single season for Newcastle United, what did Manchester United do? Immediate. He became a Manchester United player. Kevin Keegan was having to argue with Newcastle United fans outside of St James's Park, but nothing stopped Manchester United in their relentless pursuit of brilliance. When Dwight Yorke was helping Aston Villa win silverware, scoring for them in the League Cup final, what did Manchester United do? They went out and they got their man. Even when John Gregory said no, they still got their man. Dwight Yorke started that campaign playing for Aston Villa. He barely touched the ball in that first day of the season, making it impossible for Aston Villa to keep him. Manchester United, by hook or by crook, they got their man. It's a tale as old as time. True as it may seem. Steve Bruce from Norwich, Cantona from Leeds, Wayne Rooney from Everton and Edwin van der Sar from Fulham. If you demonstrated United level excellence, they went out and they got you. These days it feels different. They sign projects. They sign potential. They have normalised mediocrity to such a level that we didn't go potty when Wout Weghorst, for example, was leading the line for Manchester United. And when you look across football now and you think about the Manchester United of old, how is Harry Kane not a Manchester United player? There is no doubt in my mind that Fergie would have signed him just as he went and signed Teddy Sheringham from the same club. How is Victor Osimhen not a Manchester United player? I'm not even saying don't sign Højlund. Fine, sign Højlund. But you have to sign Højlund as a project, as a punt, as a gamble, but also sign the true, tested, proven Harry Kane. Somebody for Højlund to be inspired by and learn from. You can't simply sign Højlund and not even inquire about Harry Kane. But that's exactly what Manchester United did. The drop in standards. This example right here regarding Højlund and Kane and Osimhen, it's a microcosm of who Manchester United have become. That the standards did slip so low under Erik Ten Hag. Following in the footsteps of Dennis Law, Mark Hughes, Ruud van Nistelrooy. It's Wout Weghorst. Like when I think about Manchester United, the Manchester United that I grow up with, they had this desperation, aggression to win. Win at all costs. Nothing else matters. Win. And don't get me wrong, I know Manchester United were a glorious football team, but it was that relentless drive to succeed that separated them. If you think of one image that represents that desire, it's that image with Andy D'Urso. I say Andy D'Urso, I'm doing this off the top of my head. I do think it was Andy D'Urso. But a penalty was given at Old Trafford for the first time in about 4 years. And Stam and Keane and Beckham went crazy. You know, some moral arbiters of the game, some football hipsters, some people with a load of followers on Twitter will tell you that that was horrible. Scenes we don't want to see. But you know what? They're wrong. It was fantastic. And that scene totally represents what Manchester United are supposed to be. Winners. And they need to start behaving like winners again. Manchester United are the biggest club in the country. They need to start acting like it again. Because what Manchester United have been up to in recent years is so far removed from the standards that were set by Sir Alex Ferguson. Of course, the spirit of Sir Matt Busby lives on, but the standards that he set for that club are not being adhered to. I remember a while ago actually hearing something that blew my mind. Just over a year ago, Manchester United went to the Allianz Arena and they lost 4-3. Now, I remember at the time there was a first-hand account. A member of Manchester United's backroom staff told this to the press, that he went into the dressing room off the back of a 4-3 defeat in Europe, and the players, the staff, were high-fiving one another, congratulating one another, acknowledging the excellence in the performance, saying it out loud. That mentality is actually sackable. What Manchester United need to do now is restore their former pride. Go out into the transfer market and get the best in class. If Manchester United are genuinely going to act like the club that they should be, they just go and they get Amorim in the way that they went and got Cantona. We will get a genuine inkling as to who Ineos want Manchester United to be. If they bring in Southgate, we know that they are happy with the status quo. If they bring in Amorim, if they just pay the €10 million release clause, by hook or by crook, they prize him away from Sporting Lisbon. Don't get me wrong, Amorim isn't the only one, but he is, in my opinion, the standout candidate. 2 league titles already, competing in the Champions League, and doing it at a club that aren't historically the biggest in their division. Edin Terzic would also be a good appointment for Manchester United, I believe. A progressive one, a noble one, an exciting one, a forward-thinking one, an ambitious one. But if they don't do that, if they give it to Southgate, it shows us exactly who Ineos are, because United need to get back to winning ways. Because it's no longer about simply not being as successful as you once were, occasionally getting battered by Man City, occasionally getting battered by Liverpool, but regularly winning silverware and regularly playing in the Champions League. Things have changed. It's not easy for someone of my generation to do this, but I've had to totally redefine what Manchester United means. In my head, the definition of Manchester United has had to be redressed. Weird for me to say these words, but it's true. On the pitch, Manchester United are no longer a big club. Just listen to the facts. Manchester United have taken 1 point from 12 against teams in the top 8 of the Premier League this season. 1 from 12. How can you still be a big club when you sit 21st in Europe's second-tier competition? Manchester United are 21st in the BTEC European competition. They're 14th in the Premier League. And they've just tried to hitch a lift to France with their biggest rivals for the Ballon d'Or celebrations. If that isn't the biggest example of small-time mentality at Manchester United, I do not know what is. Am I right in my redefinition, do you think? Let me know in the comments. Am I right to have had this epiphany? Surely I am. You cannot be 21st in the Europa League table and expect me to see you as the biggest club in the world. You cannot sit 14th. Having just been slapped by Lopetegui off the back of a decade of misrule and underachievement, and still expect your place at the top table to be certified. Weak, pitiful, fragile. They are small. Their players are small. Their attitude is small. And the way that the club are behaving is so small. Trying to piggyback on the Man City flights to the Ballon d'Or awards. Am I the only one who sees this as a problem? It's so small time. Think of the pedigree of Manchester United. Think about what Manchester United should represent. And they are asking their noisy neighbour to give them a lift to a Ballon d'Or award, allowing the noisy neighbour to go, we can't. We have too many nominees. And having failed to qualify for this season's Champions League, I think it's almost fair to say that Manchester United will not be in it next season. This is critical for who Manchester United are. For starters, if they don't make it next year, they have to pay a £10 million penalty to Adidas. So that's 10 million quid. Not qualifying for the Champions League in its totality, that's about another, 50 million quid, they say? And more symbolically than the money, it would be the first time in Premier League history that Manchester United have not qualified for the Champions League in 2 consecutive seasons. I honestly find it baffling what's happened to Manchester United, but I think it's fair to say that they are a shadow of their former self. Manchester United, the example. Manchester United, a club that demands excellence from everyone from the top down. Manchester United, a club that buys the best. And Manchester United, a club that are not arrogant, they are simply better. But those days are gone, and the conduct of Manchester United and the results of Manchester United this season has awoken me. I've had an epiphany, and Manchester United are no longer their former great self. They are no longer the icons, the most prestigious and the most glamorous. To put it simply, Manchester United are behaving like a small club, and until they change the culture and their mentality, that is how we have to view them. Thank you so much for watching this video. Really, really interested to hear your thoughts on this. Do you agree with me? Are Manchester United in fact a small club these days, or do you fervently disagree? Really looking forward to seeing what you have to say. I will be in the comments the second this video goes live to see your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I look forward to seeing you all in a bit. Have a great day. Ta-da.